Media.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast tonight. We're doing things a little different. We're going to kind of do a, in honor of today being Kansas Missing and Unsolved's 10-year anniversary, we're going to kind of do a kind of a Q&A and kind of meet the crew kind of thing. You know, I'm kind of missing Brandon, though. I'm not sure if he's going to be with us or not, but hopefully he will be. But
right.
Got myself and my co-host Derek and my brother Terry.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Rock. Pam is here from Topeka. Jeannie is here from Oskaloosa.
Cool. So let's stick with the, shout out where you're from and everything and stuff like that. And like I said, we're going to do kind of a Q&A. If you guys want to ask us questions, that's fine. And we're going to kind of do a kind of an intro for each one of us and kind of give a little background of each one of us too.
Ellen Dotson here from Leavenworth. Andrea Lynn from Junction City.
Cool.
Trisha Arnold on YouTube.
Hey, Trisha.
Melissa Gurney from Lincoln.
Pam Creaky up there's on YouTube also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
RJ Burgess from Phillipsburg.
Cool.
Tammy Stevens, Ottawa.
Cool.
Ruth from Wichita. And then we got Christopher Unruh saying happy 10 years anniversary. Ricky Derrick, Christopher Unruh, Greensburg, Kansas.
Right.
Dude Davey and Broderick, please. I'm from Independence, Kansas. We will definitely put his name on the list. And then Rachel's here from Shawnee.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how do you want to do this, Rick? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I'll start off kind of like I said, let's kind of introduce ourselves and kind of give a little bit of a brief background and stuff and how we got into doing all this kind of stuff. And I guess I'll start it off. Of course, I'm Ricky Chabruggi, and I started doing missing person stuff. Initially, I was a MySpace guy in the beginning, and I was really reluctant to get on Facebook because everybody was jumping MySpace and going to Facebook. And I was like, so I was a holdout for a while. And I think it was 2010 or 2011, I finally decided to go ahead and make the move to Facebook. And initially, I had no idea what I was doing. But as time was going on, I started learning it and stuff. And I started noticing in my news feed missing persons flyers. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing these. So the more I shared, the more was being shared to me. So I kept sharing those. And eventually I was approached by a gal that was doing her own missing persons page. And she asked me if I'd like to be involved with it. And I said, yeah, but I don't know what you'd want me to do. And she said, well, make flyers. And I said, I'd never made flyers before. So she taught me how to make flyers. So Kim's the missing persons page is missing children's albums, and there's quite a few pages connected to that. But I'm still an admin on those pages to this day. But Kim's the one that taught me how to make flyers. So I started doing flyers for missing children's albums, and I was posting them there. And then I'd say about after a year, I was approached by another Facebook page, which I don't even know if that one's still active anymore. It's called PPP Recovery, and I was doing flyers for them. And I'm not sure how long I did that for, but I was doing flyers for both there for a while. And then I think me and my brother were talking one day. He'd been doing pages like Salina Scoop, Salina Police Scanner, Salina Scoop Information Page, stuff
Correct.
like that. And he had tossed around the idea of doing kind of like a Kansas Missing and Unsolved, but just mainly for our hometown. And that's
right.
That was the seed for Kansas Missing and Unsolved, was that conversation. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, why stop with just our hometown? Why not go the whole state, So I started researching on Google, looking at different missing persons websites like NamUs and Charlie Project and Doe Network and I think there might have been one more. I can't remember, but those are the main three that I really was researching on. And then I would go through YouTube or not YouTube, Facebook, and look for anything Kansas related as far as missing persons. And I really didn't find anything. So I was like, okay, So I thought about it a while and researched some more and talked to God about it for a while and decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I started putting it together and formatting it and trying to figure out how I wanted to do it and everything. And it started out to be basically kind of like a place for the older missing persons cases and unsolved homicides that have been going on for an extended period of time. And as time has gone on, it's just grown and grown and grown and grown and gone on from there until into what it is now. And I can tell you, I never dreamed or imagined that when I started this that it would be where it is today. Um, I figured, oh, it's a missing persons page about Kansas. Be lucky to have 500 likes on this page. And I was my own worst skeptic, I guess.
Yeah.
And here we are,
about
10
that?
years later, and we got 73,931 page likes and 75,847 people that are following it. So it just blows my mind. And I've never been so happy to be wrong in my life. I've said a lot to a lot of people that God guides this thing every day. He's the one that steers this ship every day. I'm just the fingers on the keyboard. And without him, none of this would be possible. So it's amazing. But aside from this, I do work a full-time 40-hour-a-week job. About 2 years ago, my 17-year-old daughter moved in with me and has been living with me about a year and a half. And so I've been taking care of her. She's a special needs, so I take care of her. A lot of appointments associated with that we have. So I keep my plate's full, but I keep going in every direction I have to go, whether it's with my daughter, whether it's my job, whether it's Kansas missing and unsolved. So it gets tough sometimes, but God keeps me going. That's all I can say to that. God keeps me going. I've been divorced this will be 12 years this year, I think. And
It's been that long. Wow.
yeah, it's been a long time.
Oh,
But I have my two kids, one that lives with me, one that lives with her mom, and we do the best we can. We do real good at co-parenting and everything, and stuff like that. So that sums it up for me. It really,
That's awesome.
I see a comment down there. It says from Jeannie LaRue saying, "Have you heard about the deceased body found in a cornfield northeast of Winchester, Kansas? It's been pretty tight-lipped so far." No, I have not, Jeannie. I haven't heard a word about that.
neither have I.
I will have to research that later and see what I can find out.
Interesting.
Yeah, we
Right,
got
yeah.
Connie Judd here from White City. And apparently Jeannie's saying that was back in early March.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
I didn't hear anything about that.
I haven't either. Usually I hear about stuff like that.
Same.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I in the 10 years I've been doing this, I've developed a lot of, I don't know what you want to call it, connections or whatever. But it's gotten easier over the years to be able to call a law enforcement agency and say, "Hey, this is Ricky Chabruggi, Kansas Missing Unsolved. I'm making a flyer for this person. Can you give me this information and actually get it?" There's still a couple holdouts, but it's getting better as the years go by. So hopefully the ones that are holdouts will kind of lighten up and help, work with us a little bit better. But
Right.
yeah, it is what it is for right now.
Right.
And I do have to give some credit to, early on I did have some other helpers that were helping me. A couple of gals, Steph and Stacy, they did a phenomenal job for me. And
Oh, definitely.
they decided that they had other things in their lives they needed to do and pursue, so they stepped away. And then I had another gal come along, Christina, and she helped me for a while. And again, she decided she had a different direction she wanted to go, so she went on her way. And I miss them all and wish them the best. There's no ill will or hard feelings, towards them or anything like that. I understand, life goes on, life moves on. it takes a lot of dedication to dedicate yourself to doing something like this, for this long of a period of time. And
Definitely.
I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I can tell you that.
Right.
So, Connie's asking if we've heard any more on Kenny. No, and I'm trying to get with Dennis over there with Muddy Water Search and Recovery. He's supposed to be making a trip over here, and we're supposed to get together when he does, so I can show him around and stuff. So I'm waiting on that. So
Cool. Very cool.
anyway, so if Derek or Terry wants to talk, they can kind of give you some.
Oh, go
background
ahead,
info.
Terry.
All right. Well, of course, I am Ricky's younger brother. I am more commonly referred to on these broadcasts as Double T, which I've kind of taken to that nickname a little bit. So, basically, what it boils down to is, a little more than 10 years ago, I planted the seed within his brain, having I had no clue at that point how big it was going to grow. 70,000+ is staggering to me. It was an idea that came from the fact that I felt like there were a lot of unsolved cases that were getting zero attention online, no media attention, nothing.
Still are.
And still are, right. And I mean, and my initial idea was Salina and Saline County. You took it and just blew the heck out of it. And I would have never thought of going the entire state because that just seems like a whole lot of work to me, really.
And it turned out to be that way, yeah.
Yeah. And now here you are with Missouri and everything else. And it's just crazy. And I couldn't be more prouder of what it's become and what you've done with it. If I would have had the time back then, because, back then, like he mentioned before, I was dealing with the Salina Scoop, which I no longer own, and the police scanner page, which both were horribly time consuming. And I sold them both and scaled my involvement down in both of those dramatically. And that's allowed me time to come back to this, which is what I wanted to do in the first place. In the middle of that, about 2015, 2016, I ran a little website called Salina Post for Eagle Communications, which now owns 4 radio stations here in town. Had 2, they now have 4. And and all the time I'm in the back here trying to think, how can I get myself more involved in this? And I'm just pleased as punch to be back involved in it again. Started back with the Springfield 3 episode, which is something I'm tremendously proud of. That research and the time I put into that was not as time consuming as I thought it was going to be, but it was to a certain degree. And I was very pleased with it at the end. So, and I hope to continue to contribute more in that aspect. And I hope this isn't my last broadcast. So that's where I'm at with all of this, really. So.
And
Cool.
we love having you. He did all the research for the Springfield 3 and made me and Ricky's job a lot easier for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping to continue to do. So
speaking of radio, I was going to say real quick, speaking of radio, I found out that this Saturday at 9:00 Central Time, if you go to the website kclyradio.com,
got a Clay Center.
And you go to the programs thing and drop down to On the Front Porch at 9 a.m. You'll be able to hear the interview that I did with them.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
I had forgotten you did that.
Yeah, she messaged me the other day and said, "Hey, it's going to run Saturday." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Is that going to be like a part 1 thing, or is it the whole interview?
It's the whole interview, as far as I know.
Oh, nice.
But the show's called On the Front Porch.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
I got to be on the radio in Ulysses, Kansas. Actually, it's a funny story. Me and my brother drove to Ulysses with our demo tape. It was a cassette tape of our band. Awful music. We drove to Ulysses to this like radio station in the middle of nowhere, and this guy they said that he would play your tape. So we introduced ourselves, and he ended up playing our song on the radio, and everybody in our Elkhart thought we were cool that night. And then anyway, like 20 years later, he still works there, and I did the morning show with him, and we talked about like local music from over the years. But I've always thought it'd be really cool to be on radio. I mean, I love Kansas. That's my home. That's my home. I always love to be on any of the public radio Kansas shows. Like that's what I grew up listening to when I was on the farm and stuff. Listening to a lot of public radio and a lot of talk radio.
If there's any one thing about that Salina Post job being at that radio station, it was the on-air radio work I got to do. I did get do news on just a couple of handfuls of times, but most of my stuff was on the FM country station under the name The Worm.
Yeah.
Included up to and being talked into doing a promotion, which had me skydiving from 15,000 feet for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And I had never flown before in my life at that point. Here I am jumping out of a plane. So,
Wow.
I did some wild stuff and I miss it to death. I've thought about maybe trying to go back somehow. We'll have to see on that one. But
yeah, I think I just write a check if they ask me to jump out of a plane. I'm like, how much do you want? How much money do I have to contribute to not jump out of a plane?
Ricky kept telling me I was out of my mind.
I saw a video clip of it because somebody videoed it, and
yeah, it was that video. I don't know. I wish I still had that actually.
Terry, when he hit the ground, he was sitting there on the ground looking up, kind of like had this look on his face, like, "Did I really just do that?"
Yeah, that's a long way up. Let me tell you.
And Rachel's soaked down there saying, "Thank you for helping St. Jude's."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was why I didn't hesitate when I asked. And what stands out to me about that day was how calm I was. I thought I was going to be scared out of my mind. And I wish it was so quiet and so calm. And I just wanted to do it and get it done.
I would have chickened.
Everybody thought I was going to.
Yeah.
It worked out that way.
Yeah.
Man. You got anything you want to talk about, Derek, as far as your background and stuff goes?
Basically, I've been in podcasting and podcasting for like 15 years, live streaming for like 10, and not 10, maybe 7 years live streaming. And I used to be kind of known for like a Howard Stern style of show. It was kind of raunchy, and I didn't really go anywhere with it, And I had gotten to a point where I had done it for a while, and I had gotten to a point where I just didn't want to do that kind of broadcast anymore. So I started interviewing people, and I picked people from Kansas. So I started with my hometown, kind of like your guys' idea. And I named a podcast after my hometown, and I started interviewing everybody I could get a hold of that at least at one time lived in my hometown. And I got like where I enjoyed talking to people and actually having something to talk about rather than just trying to be funny. And then I saw Kansas Missing and Unsolved, and I saw how popular it was. And so I messaged the page, and it was Ricky. And I introduced myself, and I was like, "Hey, I'm a guy that has a podcast that nobody listens to." I was like, "You wanna be a guest?" And then he said, "Yeah." So we were gonna just do a pre-record, and then the first time I ever met Ricky, and then we were hanging out talking before we started recording, and I don't even know why I asked, but because I didn't think there'd be any way he would let me, but I was just like, "Hey, you want to go live to your page?" And I figured he'd be like, "I don't know," but he was just immediately like, "Yes." Like Ricky was like, "Let's do it." And we went live that night, and talk about audience. Like that first night, me and Ricky went live together, and I interviewed him. There was a lot of people in the audience. And I think me and him both kind of saw opportunity in that, as far as, hey, we can take these flyers and multiply it, by doing a live video where we read the flyers, and really just what's crazy is people listen to this show. You'd think that you would have to have the flyers on screen to make this show palatable, but we get so many downloads. People can actually, they listen to Ricky describing these people, and you can, it's the same thing as like it would be on the radio. Like, it's just crazy how we didn't reinvent the wheel or anything. We literally come on here and read flyers, and that's it. And it just really works really well, because everybody here that watches, everybody that hangs out, everybody that shares the flyers, all has the same common goal, and that is to try to bring as many people home as possible, because like you guys had said when you first started, there is no shortage of missing people or unsolved crimes in the state of Kansas. And I feel like you, me, Double T, people like Ashley Duff, people are out there that are wanting to shine a light on as many of these things as possible to see if we can get some kind of resolution.
Right. And Audra's saying K Music sold so much this past year, so it's phenomenal. It definitely is.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And up here she said, "Good evening, everyone."
That's
Good evening. But yeah, it's just, and as we've been doing the podcast for the last couple of years, because it's been just a little over 2 years now since we started doing those, and as it's gone on, we've had more interaction with you guys that watch the show. As far as your comments and when you put theories out there and stuff like that, or your opinions out there, and we talk about those and stuff too. And when you bring up case suggestions, we make sure we work those in. We either try to work them in on that show or the following show as best we can. I'm noticing some other comments down here. Tammy Blanton. Steven says we need to talk about Randy Leach. Yep, definitely do. And Lisa, I hope I don't butcher this last name too bad. Brashali. I hope I'm saying that right. Gina Cyphers, any finding? Haven't heard anything on Gina's case in a long time. We've covered her a couple times. I think most recently was a couple of weeks ago or so. We covered her, and still nothing new on that one. I'm trying to remember.
Does Mickey Eason? You pinned that comment right? The find who killed her sister-in-law.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, yeah, we've covered her before too. Her last name's Eason as well.
All right, I was just making sure because I'm going through some of these comments on the Facebook side.
Okay.
But yeah, so does anybody have any? We're going out to a few people here. Does anybody have any suggestions on what could make this show better?
Yeah, we're always open to suggestions. And Trisha's saying she'd love to see us devote a block of time each week just for unsolveds. That's an idea.
Yeah.
And that's really where so I kind of left a little bit out. So basically, I was a live streamer and a podcaster when I met Ricky, but for the last 6 years in my private life that I don't really talk about that much in public, I've been investigating, and I use the word very loosely, but I've been investigating quite a few unsolved homicides in my hometown. And that's sort of my angle with true crime, is I've always been really, interested in wanting to know why, my town had so much trouble solving these homicides. And it's what got me into talking to victims' families. It's what got me talking into, police. It's got me just having a communication with authorities and stuff. And then meeting Ricky and how he's, pretty established and connected to a lot of law enforcement. I mean, people, they use our flyers when people go missing a lot of times. So just to have where I started out wanting to know more answers about some of these things that happen in my hometown, and just by having conversations with, retired police officers, people from my community, I've been able to learn a great deal, so meeting Ricky sort of legitimized this secret hobby that I had that I didn't tell people, was oh yeah, if it's 8:30 on a Saturday, you can probably catch me going through some trial transcript from 1970.
Right.
That's what I get into.
And Rachel Slickle saying, "Where's your hometown? I missed it."
Oh, Elkhart, Kansas.
Yeah.
He's not wearing the Elkhart hat tonight.
It's filthy. It is so dirty. I can't wear it.
Any ideas that come up or suggestions that come up in the comments? I got a notepad sitting here in front of me that I'm going to jot this stuff down on so we can discuss it later. Amongst ourselves, to see how we can incorporate these ideas into the best we can. So I've got my notepads handy. I've actually got two sitting here, one for case suggestions, one for ideas. So,
yeah.
I will say, you mentioned law enforcement agencies a minute ago, Derek. I'm actually astounded by the number of them that have worked with Ricky as well as they have. There's a few out there that kind of need to get with the program, and I'm not going to name names, but it is a very useful tool, and they need to realize that. I mean, it amazes me just how many of them work with him and even email him or even call him on a regular basis when they need a flight done. I would have never thought that would happen. And I just love that. Absolutely just love that.
Yeah. The most recent one, I won't get into too much details about it, but I had law enforcement agency get a hold of me and said they got my information from the POI officer with the KBI and wondering if I wanted to be involved with a missing persons case they were working on. And I said, yeah, sure. So, which unbeknownst to them, I've already been circulating flyers for that particular case for some time. So I've already been involved, I guess you could say. But yeah, I like it when law enforcement is receptive to what I'm doing, and stuff like that. It's really cool. I think as time has gone on, I think put some more of them at ease. It's like, and now that hopefully that it's publicly known now that, hey, we've been doing this 10 years, that'll maybe ease them up some more. Hopefully, I can't believe it's been 10 years. It just, I was thinking about it at work today. It's like, man, I haven't really been doing this for 10 years. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And everything that's gone on with it, and as much as it's grown, and it just really blew me away.
And we have really cool things on the horizon that we'll talk more about in the future.
And I saw Rachel. Let's see, where's she at? I saw her in here. I could have swore I did. Maybe I didn't. I got a message earlier today from what is her name? She's with us from Oklahoma all the time.
Roxanne?
Yeah, Roxanne Fisher Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she sent me a link to a video that was done by Kendall Ray, who's a YouTuber podcaster. She does true crime stuff, and she was doing one on Angela Green that she ran on Facebook. And Rachel sent me the link to it, and she was telling me that Kendall used my flyer in the video, so I haven't had a chance to watch it all the way through yet. So I'll be interested to see. I watched part of it, but I haven't seen it all yet. So, but yeah, every now and then I'll get, I'll see that happen. The flyers will pop up in YouTube videos. They've popped up on news broadcasts. They've popped up on websites, newspapers. Another one that was related to Angela Green is I was contacted by a lady with People magazine that they do the Access Hollywood stuff, and she did an Access Hollywood video with Ellie Green interviewing her about her mom being missing, and she asked if they could use Angela's flyer in their video, and I said, yeah, by all means, go ahead. So it was used in that video, and I mean, it just blows me away when stuff like that happens. I never expected anything like that would happen, but it does, and it's just,
I get blown away every time I see a promo for Cakes Missing in Kansas Steel, and I see her flyers in the background of their graphic. It's like,
on her graphic. Apparently that was done by her producer or whatever. I guess they follow the page quite devotedly. So
that's cool.
It's like they took a bunch of the flyers and laid it on a table and snapped a picture and used that behind the Missing in Kansas logo there, which is cool. I like that. Yeah. But anybody have any questions or any suggestions or ideas?
How we can quiet out there.
Do something a little different with the show or anything like that?
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we know.
What was that?
That was my computer, actually. It's a little thing on iMac that tells me what time it is at the top of every hour. That could be quite interesting all the night when you're dead asleep and you hear this voice in your room. It's 2 o'clock. Now.
Trisha says the good you do just keeps going. Yeah, it does. And Rachel Sook says she's new here. Do you have volunteers who help you with specific cases? Right now, as far as the flyers and everything, I'm pretty much right now a one-man band right now. One of my helpers, when I had my two original helpers, one of them was taking care of the Twitter page for me. And whenever I would post to Facebook, she made sure I got on Twitter. The other one, she would help monitor the Facebook page, and she was getting to where she was starting to do flyers and stuff too. But since they've gone, and then Christina came along, and what she was doing for me was mostly behind the scenes stuff. She would, what she would do is she would get a hold of law enforcement agencies and check with them on the older flyers on the page and say, hey, or, I'm with Kansas Missing and Unsolved, and we're trying to update some flyers and stuff. Can you tell me if this person's been located, or do we still need to keep sharing the flyer, or what do we need to do? And that was a huge help to me. She'd send me lists of the ones that she'd gone through, so I knew which ones to update, which ones to share and stuff. And that was a huge help to me. And because that's where I really have the hardest time, is trying to have the time to sit down and call law enforcement agencies and say, hey, can I clear this one? Are they still missing? That kind of thing. One thing that's kind of helped that a little bit is KBI's within the last several years has come out with their own missing persons website. So if I can get on there, and if I can find them on there, then I know they're still missing. It's when I don't find them, I need to get a hold of them and say, hey, have they been found or not? But that's been a bit of a help to me. And I think their website, it's a good resource. It does need a little bit of work. There's lots and lots of cases on there, missing persons on there, that they don't have photos of the missing person. And it's like, I don't know why that is. I mean, kind of confuses me a little bit, but
What good does it do you to not have a photo of this person?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just they didn't. I don't know if they just didn't have it at the time they put it into KBI, or if they just simply didn't have one, or that kind of thing.
Still, though, it's going to aid the search immensely. Yeah. Have a photo available.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not dogging on KBI or anything like that. I just. I hope they can make some improvements here and there. I know it's like I said, it's only about 2 or 3 years old. That website is, and so I know they're probably still working kinks and bugs out. So
yeah.
See, Connie's asking, can detectives come on and talk about a case? That's a good question. Honestly,
if it's an open case and it's a criminal case, probably not.
Yeah.
If it's a missing person, definitely.
Yeah. Possibly. Yeah. So now when Terry was working with Salina Post, he had got a hold of them because he wanted to do a kind of a anniversary story on the Unsolves.
Yeah.
Here in Salina, and he visited with the sheriff's department and he visited with the police department, and the sheriff's department was a little more cooperative than the police department was, but it is what it is.
I was told somebody ran an anniversary piece today on Catherine Adam, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, because tomorrow would actually be the anniversary of her disappearance. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if it was taught on KSAL. Wouldn't surprise me. Because he's good about doing stuff like that. Our newspaper around here hasn't been doing too much on stuff like that, considering, this blows me away. Sold our local newspaper to a company in Texas. So our Salina Journal, our local newspaper, comes from Texas.
Comes from the Texas office and it's printed in Hutch. You are correct.
Yeah.
They sold their local building here to the hospital. So.
Well, that's what I like about what Josh Barnhart and them are doing with that Salina 311, because they're starting their own local newspaper to get it local again, which I applaud them, and I hope it goes very, very well. They really do.
If you've been down East Iron lately, they now have an office in the old Remax building behind the old Dillon's, soon to be Dollar General building there.
Really? I didn't notice that.
Yep.
I just said, it's on Facebook with KSAL.
Thank you. I'll look for that here in a little while.
Can I call it or can I call it? Oh, man. But, yeah. So nobody has any questions for me or Terry or Derek or anything like that? Or any ideas or suggestions for the show or the page or anything like that?
Comments, concerns, trepidations.
My kids have been sick since Monday. They're all right, but we had to get them tested today for COVID because it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm starting to get it now, so I've just been kind of real tired today.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't get it. I had it for about a week back the last week of January, first week of February, and it just was not a good thing.
Oh, it's not COVID. We got tested today. It's just a
Yeah.
cold or something.
I never want to be tested for that again. I've been through it 3 times.
Jeez.
Sucks.
Rachel, my email address is on Kansas Missing and Unsolved. I haven't put my phone number there yet because my phone goes off enough, and I don't have time during the day at work to field phone calls and stuff like that. So, you can definitely email me, or you can message the Kansas Missing and Unsolved page, or my personal Facebook, which is just under my name, Ricky Jabruggy. So, I mean, you can do it that way too. Candace Liston's here. Hey, Candace, how you doing? We're just kind of doing a get to know us kind of show, and kind of in honor of the fact that Kansas Missing and Unsolved is 10 years old today, and
Yep. Doesn't seem like it's been that long.
it doesn't feel like it some days. Mom just tried to call me and left me a voicemail.
Same. I can't answer anything because I'm using my phone to stream right now. So.
Trish is saying there's been a flu-like virus going around. It lasts about a week or more. My ex, I think, had it. I'm not sure. Audra. Yeah, I don't know, but I saw her today and she's doing better. So that's good.
Right. My dogs are about to start barking, it sounds like. I think somebody just got here.
I was wondering who's barking.
Yeah, mine aren't. Mine are actually being quiet, which I'm shocked, I'm stunned, I'm amazed, I'm flabbergasted.
I don't have one to bark anymore.
German Shepherd. That's right. You had to put yours down, didn't you? Yep. Yeah. Maybe we should have went ahead and had a few flyers on standby.
Right.
Hey,
but we just kind of wanted to do, something a little different tonight since it's KMU's 10-year anniversary, and kind of get to know some stuff, because we're always covering cases. I think we've never really gotten personal with everybody, and we kind of wanted to get personal a little bit tonight. So
right.
Yeah. Rachel, if you want to get a hold of me, I'll gladly talk to you about it and see what maybe you can help us out with.
For sure. That would be cool. We can always use some help.
I'm actually supposed to be getting with Dennis on doing. He messaged me the other day and asked me if I would want to do his come on his Sunday night YouTube live that he does. So.
Oh wow.
Christopher's asking, what department do I work at Menards? I'm in hardware. And my brother actually works the front end there too.
Yep.
Splits his time between cashiering and working the service desk is what he does. I'm just strictly hardware.
Yeah, if I'm at the service desk at the front door a lot.
Yeah. And Rachel says, I will. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
There you go.
Had to be at work at 9, and I had an appointment that lasted about 2 hours. Had to get back to work, and then in order to even out my hours I was supposed to work, I had to stay about 2.5 hours later than I was supposed to, and got off at 8:25. Had to get home, take care of the dogs, get cleaned up a little bit before the show and stuff like that. Yeah, Menards is a big store with a lot of stuff. When I started, I didn't realize how big it was until I started working in there, because I'd only been in there one time prior to that, and that was when they first opened the store, because they had, I'm trying to remember who was all there. They had different celebrities there doing signings and stuff like that for the grand opening. They had Christian Okoye, Brett Saberhagen, Paul Menard. I think that was the only 3 they had, I think. So yeah, that was the first time I'd been in Menards was back then, and now I've been working there just a hair over 5 years.
I'm approaching 4 come October. So
prior to that, I spent 22 years, well, just shy of 22 years by a month, working at the Sears store here in town until we had to clean it out and close it up. So I guess I'm a glutton for punishment in retail. I don't know.
You and me both.
Because during my time at Sears, I did 6 years at the bookstore in the mall, so which was a pretty cool job. I like that job.
That's awesome.
Well, Trish, if you drive over to Salina to go to Menards, you better stop and say hi while you're there.
Right.
I mean, I'm there about 40 to 42 hours a week, so chances are you'll probably catch me.
Same.
Yeah. Still waiting to see if anybody has any questions, any suggestions, ideas.
Been quiet.
Yeah.
Jeannie says I sent a snapshot of the deceased body that was found in northeast Jefferson County. Okay. Did you send it to the Kansas Missing and Unsolved inbox? I'll have to look and see here. Hopefully it's just an article, not a picture of the actual body.
Right.
Not be good.
Yeah. I'm looking in the messages here. Jeannie sent a photo. If this thing will load, and I'll take a look at it. Oh, it's an article. Let's see. I hate it when I do it that way. Okay. Let's see what it says here. For the love onions.
You find it.
Okay. Yes, authorities from Jefferson County Sheriff's Authorities recently launched a death investigation after a farmer discovered a corpse along a tree line in a field abandoned house in rural Winchester. Sheriff Jeff Herrig said the discovery has been ongoing since March 4th to determine identification and the cause of death. The body was discovered east of Mooney Creek Road on 166th Road, Herrig said. As of Tuesday, March 8th, Herrig conveyed his belief the deceased person might be from another area and is not a person that had been reported missing from neighboring counties. Herrig confirmed the deceased is a male of average height and build with dark brown hair. Herrig estimated the man to be middle-aged, and the death occurred sometime in early January.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I do unidentified flyers too, so I may have to go ahead and do an unidentified flyer. I wonder if they're going to release any information as far as like if he was wearing any kind of rings or necklaces or anything like that. Wristwatch, the kind of clothing he was wearing.
Yeah, you would hope there'd be something that would help identify him.
Yeah.
Whether that be like a scar or a tattoo or, like you said, jewelry, something to that effect. Something I wish they would have kind of found with that skull off of Magnolia there.
Yeah, they said they couldn't pull enough DNA to get a complete profile on that. So I wonder if they've explored maybe getting a hold of the FBI and sending it to their lab and see what the FBI labs can do with it.
Good question. Don't know.
I mean, I've heard of different things like tandem repeat DNA testing, where they can take a small amount of DNA and multiply it repeatedly to get a full profile. I wonder if they've explored that option.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, they've got ways where they can take a small amount of DNA and multiply it and stuff. So, I mean, why not explore it?
They can take small, trace, minute little amounts of DNA and use it these days.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
And Jeannie says, article, yes, sorry, misprint. It's okay. She said, since the body was found, it's been very tightly closed. Yeah, and Connie Judd brings up a good point. They can take from teeth as well. So if there was any teeth in that partial skull, they should have been able to extract it from the teeth.
Right.
I don't know.
That is interesting.
I wonder, my thing is, I don't really think they were out there at that scene for very long. So I'm wondering how much they really actually searched.
That's an excellent question. I have wondered that myself.
Yeah, I don't know. I would hope they would have done a thorough job, because I mean, you don't know if the like maybe floodwaters carried it from one place to another, or an animal found it and drug it from one place to another, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when it was first found, my first thought was the first two cases that came to mind was Catherine Adams, because where it was found is literally just right down the road from where she disappeared from.
True.
And then the second one was Kenny Rychek, because the last place he was known to be was the Gospel Mission out there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's probably 2 blocks south
Yep.
of where the skull was found. So,
What kind of led me from it being Catherine was the fact that nobody could figure out about the mileage that was driven on her delivery van when
right.
it found with its interior blood soaked at Russell's restaurant. So that would tend to lead me to believe she was dumped out in the country somewhere in the van driven bag.
Yeah.
It's been the going theory anyway. So
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll be found. And another one I think about a lot too is Anthony Scully, because
good call.
to disappear from a public park, and his car still be there locked with everything inside of it, and him not be anywhere to be found, and it's just perplexing.
Yeah.
Just perplexing. From what I remember from the flyer, it said that his wife had seen him pulling into the park, so she pulled in behind him, and he told her he wasn't feeling well, so she tried to get him to let her drive him home, and he said no, and so she went to get I think it was her brother, I believe it was, to come back with her and help get him home. And when they got there, he was gone, but the car was still there, locked up with everything in there, including his lunch. From work. So
Yeah.
that case comes to mind every time I drive by Jerry Ivy Park. Yeah, it's just whoa.
What was that?
Not me.
It's just loud over here.
So
About that over here. My roommates have a 19-month-old. I could hear him a couple times down there, but
so hopefully these cases do get solved at some point. Something's got to give, and now that they're starting to do those unsolved case decks in the correctional facilities and the county jails and stuff like that, hopefully that will help get some people talking too.
Yeah.
I was trying to go through and I was looking at all the cases on there. Because actually I was contacted by the gal that was putting those decks together, and she asked me for case suggestions, and I emailed her like 34 flyers, case for different cases for that, and some are in there, and there's some on there that I had not heard of before. So I'm gonna go through and see if I can get some flyers made for some of them.
yeah.
Trying to find the email. Where is that?
I'm gonna go ahead and pull myself down. I'll be in the back. It's just loud over here, but I'll be in the back.
Okay.
Well, just you and me now.
Uh-oh. So I'm trying to find the email because I want to go through that deck and look at all the cases again.
Yeah.
No, I know that email's in here somewhere.
That's supposed to be a couple of months from now when they distribute those deck mates and so forth.
Yeah, the digital is available on the KDOC website.
Right.
And I did link that in the comments under the releases that I posted on it.
Oh, I got you.
I'm trying to find that. So I want to go through the deck, and so I know one of the Solana cases I made in there was Beverly Logan, which was an unsolved murder from here in town that they've never been able to solve. And
thought I saw Catherine. That was not Catherine, but Gina Cypher's in that one, I believe.
I believe she's in there as well.
Lori Heimer.
Yeah, Lori Heimer is in there. And let's see if I can.
Was Beverly
okay.
Logan when I was thinking she might have been too? I don't remember.
Are you trying to find it?
Kinda.
I'm trying to too. My computer's being conveniently slow tonight.
I keep getting distracted with other things. So.
Yeah. We are also getting closer to launching the Kansas Missing and Unsolved website as well.
Do we have a time frame on that launch yet, sir?
Not yet. I'm still waiting to hear from Derek on the actual timeline on that. I know it's getting. Oh, here we go. It's getting closer. I know that.
Good deal. Good deal.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm pulling up the PDF file for those cards right now. Okay, let's see. Okay, I got a Teresa, Terry. Let me blow this up a little bit so I can read a little bit better. Daigle and Lawrence Lynn Daigle. They were homicide victims
Oh, I've heard that one.
in Leavenworth County. A Terrell Osabach is a homicide victim out of Shawnee County. Maurice Johnson is a homicide victim out of Wichita. Alex LaRussa from here in town, missing person.
That was the other soul I know.
Yeah.
I knew there was one more.
Jennifer Wilson is a missing person out of Sedgwick County.
Yeah.
Bernardino Bernie Ornelas, who's a homicide victim out of Wichita.
Yeah.
Chauncey Conway is a homicide victim out of Wichita. Heather Lang is a homicide victim out of Donovan County. Lori Heimer, homicide victim out of Saline County. Arthur Goebel, homicide victim out of Wichita, which I've had an opportunity to speak with his daughter.
Nice.
Costello Reed, the third homicide victim, Wichita. Welly. Oh boy, I don't know if I could say this last name or not. Syakhasone, homicide victim out of Sedgwick County. And then they've got Carla Avery, Tamisha Lee, Eric Avery, and Marvin Woods, homicide victims out of Topeka. That's the diamonds, the diamond suit cases.
Oh, okay.
And then the clubs, they've got James Walker out of Wichita, Cassandra Jones out of Sedgwick County, and John Waller out of Topeka, which are all homicide victims, and Beverly Logan here in town, homicide victim.
I thought they had both. Yeah.
And James A. Winston III, homicide victim, Wichita. Manuel Vargas Aviles, homicide victim, Wichita. Robert L. Newman, homicide victim, Wichita. Clarence Bryant, homicide victim, Wichita. James and Diana McAtee, homicide victims out of Geary County. Lemmy Alford, homicide victim, Wichita. There's a lot of Wichita.
Indeed.
Tanya Knight, homicide victim out of Johnson County. Floyd Johnson, homicide victim out of Coffeyville. And Justin Cook, homicide victim out of Wichita. That's all the clubs. Then you get into the hearts, and it's Charles Thompson, homicide victim out of Kansas City, Kansas. Cortana Trigg, homicide victim, Wichita. Harmon Fenton and Sarah Palmer, homicide victims out of Cherokee County.
Quite a few out of.
Yeah, Dwayne Brinson, homicide victim out of Wichita. Charles L. Giles, homicide victim, Wichita. Margaret Ty, missing person out of Potawatomi. Adrian Franklin, homicide victim out of Wichita. Anna Baldwin, homicide victim out of hold on a minute. Osage County. Ernie Ortiz out of Garden City, homicide victim. Joshua Antoine Jernigan, homicide victim, Topeka.
Yep.
Nelson Lewis Jones, homicide victim out of Dickinson County.
Oh, yeah.
Doris Elaine Branson, homicide victim out of Franklin County. Valencio Hill, homicide victim out of Wichita. And that concludes the hearts. Then in the spades, An unidentified remains case out of Geary County. Missing person Glenna Bullard out of Lincoln County. John K. Adams, homicide victim out of Wichita. Gina Cyphers, homicide victim from here in Salina.
Oh, they did do Gina. Okay.
Yep. Michael Maxwell, homicide victim out of Wichita. Miranda Keck, homicide victim, Wichita. Aisha Donaby, homicide victim, Wichita. Clarence Butch Levine, homicide victim, Shawnee County. Jesus Aaron Lerma, homicide victim out of Ford County. Cole Daniel Firestein, missing person at Leavenworth. Gary Leo Nelson, homicide victim out of... where is that out of? They don't have a location. They just have it listed as a KBI case. I'll have to do some research on that one.
Yeah.
Colby B. Hopkins, homicide victim out of Wichita, and Candace Fisher and Christina Brandalise, homicide victims out of Johnson County. So there's your deck there. And my understanding is for right now, those decks are only going to be available to the correctional facilities and the jails.
Right.
For right now, they are, they're going to try to push to make them publicly available.
I hope so.
So, the Wamego Parade. I think Derek said that was going to be. I'm not sure what date. I know it's in July. I think it was the July 4th weekend, I believe, wasn't it, Derek?
Yeah, we're still trying to make that happen.
There he is.
Okay. Wow. But yeah, hopefully they'll make that deck statewide. And like I said, this is the inaugural deck. When I posted about it, I had a lot of comments there about this case wasn't in there, this case wasn't in there, this case wasn't in there.
I sent you just along those lines, thinking maybe the Dolly Madison murder should have been in there, something like that.
And I remind everybody, this is the inaugural deck. It's the first time they've done this in Kansas. Other states have been doing it for a number of years now, and Kansas is starting to do it, and I think it's a good thing. I think it'll help.
First one I ever in Florida. Wow, it's been probably 10 years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully there'll be more decks to follow in future years to include more cases and stuff like that. I'm sure they've got a whole list of cases. So yeah, but hopefully. Yeah, because I would like to see an actual physical deck as well.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah. Yeah, and she told me she's going to try to send me one, so we'll see.
Is she behind any of the ones in the other states?
No, as far as I know, no. She's with KDOC, so.
Oh.
Yeah. And I thought another neat thing about that too is I got to looking at the KDOC page talking about the decks and everything, and then I linked that in the comments under those press releases too. And if you look under their resources and links, they've actually put Kansas Missing and Unsolved in the resources and links, and that's pretty cool. I like that. So
cool.
Yeah. But now getting back to her mentioning the Randy Leach case earlier, we've covered his case a few times, and I'm gonna, we'll cover it again because it needs covered again, and so yeah.
That's another one.
We'll cover him again.
That deck.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't make the first deck.
Yeah.
Esther Unruh's here saying hello, Ricky and Derek and Terry.
Hello.
Hello. And Rachel, she says the sheriff department has them right. They will have. They're supposed to be in the county jails and in the correctional facilities.
That's correct.
So she told me the hard decks won't be out probably about 2 months or 2 to 3 months probably. But the online ones are available at the KDOC website.
2 to 3 months from when they're in the facilities, or 2 to 3 months from now?
She just said 2 to 3 months. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the link in the comments to the show. So if you guys want to go check out the cards too. I just put it in the comments there.
Okay.
www.doc.ks.gov/victim-services/cold case playing cards. No, they never did find out who killed Lori Heimer. That's the one that was from Assyria. They have not found her. She's in that there as well. So I'm glad she made it too. I mean, they could have. I mean, hopefully they do this. This is going to be something continues to go for future years because, yeah, you're right. She'll be available in the day rooms and the canteens. They're gonna, and also so they're gonna replace the decks that they have in those areas with these decks, so they will just only have these decks. So, and I know other states, like so, they've been doing it for a while, and they've actually had some cases solved that way from inmates, within the institution saying, "Hey, yeah, I know something about that case." So yeah, hopefully they'll be a big help.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, praise the Lord. Had a thing go across the top of my phone that said the Kansas House voted unanimously to reduce the food sales tax in the state of Kansas.
Good.
Hoping for that one.
They would just drop the food prices.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the Lord is good.
Tricia said, so if you know an inmate, they can get one. Yep, definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, early on when I was doing this page, I won't name the organization or anything, but I had an organization approach me and tell me I needed to stop doing Kansas Missing and Unsolved because I was going to hamper cases, not help cases. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that because, that's what I'm here to do is help cases and not hamper them. And nothing I was doing was going to hamper a case. It could only help.
I don't know why anybody would think that. That makes zero sense to me whatsoever.
Well, because they wanted to be the big dog on the block. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to be intimidated or told I couldn't do what I used to do.
Right.
Tricia used to work for KDOC. Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I've had some obstacles and issues early on with that kind of thing. We say, oh, you don't need to be doing this. You're going to hurt cases. You're not going to help cases. And it's like, nope, I'm not going to stop. I know what I'm doing. I know what to do and what not to do. And of course, during the course of since I've been doing it, I've learned a lot. I've definitely learned from one law enforcement agency here in Kansas that, and this is something I really didn't know, was I had done a flyer for somebody that was a missing person, and I asked the family, missing person, has a missing persons report been filed? And they said, yeah. So I did the flyer and put it on the page, and pretty soon I get a phone call from the law enforcement agency. It was a message actually, asking me who got a hold of me about this missing person because they didn't have a report on file for the person. And I said, oh, well, I was a family member. And they said, well, have them get a hold of us so we can get a report on file, because they told me, for one, without a report being on file for a missing person, they don't know the person's missing, for one. And they told me, for two, without a report on file, if they were to find the person, there's not really anything they could do because there's not a report stating that they're missing or whatever. So they wouldn't be able to detain them or take them home or whatever if there wasn't a report filed. So since that point, and that was, like I said, early on, I hadn't been doing Kansas Missing and Unsolved very long at that point. So from that point on, when I'm getting information from a family member on a missing person, one thing I do ask for is the case number. Asking for the law enforcement agency the report's filed with and the case number with that agency, so I can definitely verify that a report's filed. And another way I verify it too is I go to the KBI website and look for them on KBI website, because I know if they're on there, then the report's filed.
Right.
So, yeah. Because with the Kansas missing person statute that's in place, it states they have to, after they file the report, which they have to do immediately, they have to have it in the missing persons section of NCIC and on KBI's missing persons website within 2 hours of taking that report. So yeah. So I know if it's on KBI, then it's filed. So
right.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I learned I learned from my mistakes for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah. Some of the more interesting things I've had happen through the years, though. I had a situation come up where I had a message come in one day that just said, "I found one of your kids," and I'm like, I mean, no pictures, no nothing, no names, nothing except for the person that sent the message, and I can't think of his name now. But and I was like, okay, I just kind of like didn't take it too seriously. I just kind of like somebody messing around. I thought, and a couple of days later or so, got another message from the guy. It was a photo of him with the missing person holding the flyer that I made for that missing person. I was like, oh crap, he did find him. And he told me that he had been the missing person had been living on the streets in L.A.
Oh my.
and had been cited for vagrancy 2 or 3 times by the LAPD, but they never bothered to run a background on him to see that hey, he was a missing person.
Wow.
And so they just kept citing him and turning him loose. So this guy, he has a organization where he works that works with homeless people around the country. And he ended up helping this young man get back home. And I was sent a picture a little while later that of him reunited with his parents, and so he helped him get back home. So glad that little girl from Lenexa was. Yeah, I'm glad she was found pretty quickly too.
Mm.
Yes, yes. So yeah, that was pretty cool, And another one that I had happen sometime after that was there was a gentleman that was missing from Fort Riley. I believe it was since 1956. And I had done flyers for him, had him on the page, and out of the blue, I get a message from a guy that said that he was this man's grandson in Canada, and that he had been living in Canada all those years, and the FBI was involved. They did DNA testing to confirm that it was in fact him,
Wow.
and he was his grandson from his Canadian family. So for whatever reason, he left Fort Riley in 1956. Went up to Canada and started a new life in Canada. But by the time that he had been located or, had been revealed that he was in Canada, he had already passed.
Oh,
And so, and I asked his grandson if he had a current photo of him before he passed, and he sent me one, and I compared it to the photo on the old flyer, and you could tell, I mean, it was obviously older, but I mean, you could tell it was him. So, yeah, I thought that was like, wow. So
Right.
crazy.
yeah, that's probably the oldest case that I know of that I've heard of an outcome for Kansas. Is missing since 1956. And I was like, wow, amazing. But yeah, I don't know why he decided to up and leave Fort Riley and go up there. I guess he didn't want to be in the military anymore. I guess I don't know, but I'm glad he was able to live out a happy life up there and start a family up there, and
That's
And
interesting.
Rachel says she hopes stories like that will be on the website. Yeah, that might be something to look into to add to the website. Just some of the stories like that.
Yeah.
Do we have a time frame when that's going to be launched, or do we know yet?
What?
The website
Should be in the next few days. It's
Sweet.
just about done.
Nice.
Wait. It's gonna be pretty cool. It's got a resource page with like the suicide hotline, the teenage runaway hotline, domestic violence hotline, stuff like that on there. On the resource page, it's going to have flyers up there that we post on Facebook and things like that. And I can't remember what all else. I'll have to go back and look.
So it's going to be another useful tool.
Yeah, definitely will be.
It's going to help both us as well as the folks that are trying loved ones and stuff.
It's been something I've been wanting to see for Kansas Missing Unsolved for a long, long time as a website.
Yeah, I know we discussed it prior years back. Never came of it.
I tried to actually get one going on Wix years back, and I just was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if I can even access that one anymore. It's been so long. Probably not.
Wix is still around.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it personally, but
Yeah. I've seen some websites done on Wix, and they're not too bad, but yeah. I'm excited for the website, though. I can't wait to see it up and running. Be pretty cool.
not like it used to be back in the day when you had GeoCities around and they made it really easy to develop something.
Yeah. I remember GeoCities. Boy, that was fun.
Oh my, yeah. That was
Terry actually did a lot of the writing for the website, too, so.
Yeah, I was very happy to get the chance to and the opportunity to contribute to that. So I appreciate you all asking me to do that. That's something I enjoy.
It says when I was 14 years old, this little boy went missing in Atchison. Jeremy Coots, age 4. Yeah, actually, I just did an updated flyer for him and posted it a couple days ago. We're actually going to cover his case this weekend. So,
Is there going to be a show this weekend, or are you going back to the weeknight?
Well,
or what's that?
We're going to do a show Saturday, and then after Saturday, I think Derek was talking about going back to doing Tuesday, Thursdays again. So hopefully it doesn't make everybody mad, but we're talking about doing it Tuesdays, Thursdays again. Because it's just going to be easier to do it that way. For me, anyway, for us. Yeah, matter of fact, last night I had a conversation with Jeremy's mom. I was talking to Jeremy Coots' mom last night for a little bit. Yeah, Melody Hathaway. She actually has a book she's written. It's called In Search of Jeremy, a Mother's Story, and I have a copy of it. And it's a really good book. You can get it on Amazon.com. Matter of fact, when I posted his updated flyer, I linked the book, the Amazon listing on the flyer. So if anybody wants to really do a deep dive into Jeremy's case, I really recommend reading the book because it's really good. And from what she tells me, she's working on a follow-up book as well. So,
cool.
Yeah, can't wait to read that one too. Yeah, that's a sad case. I mean, he was at his babysitter's house, and babysitter let him and her little boy go outside and play, and Jeremy walked off, and they think that he fell in the river and drowned, but they never did find his body. They've never found any articles of clothing. They've never found his hearing aid. And he had one. Remember, this is 1977, so he had one of those hearing aids that wasn't, like mine, where they go behind and in the ear where you don't see them.
Oh yeah.
But he had one of the hearing aids where you had the thing in the ear, you had the cord that ran down to the box that was in your pocket. He had one of those kind of hearing aids.
Oh wow.
So, but they never even found a trace of that, of him anywhere. So I mean. And Tammy says she's read it and it breaks her heart. Yeah. 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 I actually got a chance to meet Melody. She came through Salina one time and stopped, and we visited for a little bit. We met at the Long John Silver's on Broadway, or not Broadway, Ohio and Crawford down there. It's not a Long John Silver's anymore, but we met there and visited for a bit while we were eating lunch and stuff. And it was really cool. Yeah, it's now an original grande taco place now.
So. Well, I gotta get out of here, boys. Do you know how to end the show if you're gonna stay, Ricky? Just hit end broadcast whenever you're ready. My kids are sick. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
It's a quarter to 11 or so.
Do it.
It's a quarter to 11 here.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, hopefully one of these shows coming up, I can maybe talk to Melody and maybe have her come on for a little bit and talk about Jeremy a little bit.
Cool.
And I'll talk to her and see if she'd be open to that.
Yep.
But yeah. Well, I think unless anybody has any other questions or suggestions or ideas or anything, we may just go ahead and wrap it up for the night and come back with our normal show on Saturday. And like I said, I've written down, Randy Leach and Gina Cyphers and Kenny Rychek and for the show for Saturday. So I'll make sure we include them on the show Saturday, definitely.
Yep. I personally will not be available for that show as I have Liberty football that night. However, once
Oh,
you're
you
back
do.
weekdays, I'd be more than happy to come back on.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yep.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight for this little get to know us kind of thing and Q&A, and appreciate everybody showing up and helping us kind of honor Kansas Missing and Unsolved's 10-year anniversary. You know, it's been an amazing 10 years, and I can't wait to see what's in store for us next. Be interesting to see. It's always something new.
True.
Yeah. But, you know, everybody stay safe and God bless, and, you know, God look over each and every one of you, and we'll see you guys Saturday night. You guys have a good night.
Night.
If you or someone you know is experiencing a suicidal crisis or emotional distress, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255.